Hi, I'm Fred Wilson with PreView Electronics. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the PreView radar system, and we're going to install it on this capped front loader. To start off with, let me show you what's included in the kit. This is the PreView, standard PreView sensor that we'll install about here on the vehicle. In the kit is the display, which we'll demonstrate a little later on. This will go in the cab, and the driver will be able to see it. It also comes with an extension cable to connect from the sensor under the chassis into the cab. Just in case, we brought along a 15-foot extension cable, which is also available. The most important part of the PreView is positioning. The PreView beam is a sort of a teardrop-shaped three-dimensional beam that comes out and wide and has some height as well to it. Since it's probably not a good idea to mount the unit down low on this vehicle, we're going to mount it up a little higher where it's a little bit more protected. Because we're mounting it higher, we're going to put it on a little bit of an angled bracket that will tip the sensor down just a little bit so it'll see a little closer. What we're going to do is mount the sensor on this bracket, and then we'll mount the bracket right on the back of the loader. What we're going to show you is where it needs to go, and then a little later on we'll get inside, look at the wiring hookups, and we'll follow the wire up under the chassis into the cab. Now, because we're talking to a Caterpillar vehicle, Caterpillar has connected their backup alarm through their in-cab electronics, which is a little sensitive to additional load. But what we're going to do is, instead of tying directly to the PreView sensor, we're going to have to go through a relay. What we're going to do is the brown and the white wires are going to tie into the two lines coming into the backup alarm on this unit, and then we'll tie power to the red wire, and our PreView sensor will tie to the green wire to give it power when the unit is put into reverse. We'll get it mounted, and then we'll come back in just a little bit and show you what we've done. Let's look at, just for a minute, where we're going to mount this unit. Ideally, the display should be about 36 inches off the ground. Because the bumper is a little higher than that, we're going to mount it right here. And we're going to center it up. We'll take the measuring tape. And this is 38 inches, so we'll mount it right here at 19 inches. We'll mark that one. And then notice we've got it on the sloped mounting bracket that's available. And that, because the slope of the back end, that puts it looking just slightly down, which is perfect since we're just a little higher than the 36 inches that's recommended. That lets us see close enough that anything that's in close will trigger the unit. So we'll mount it right there. And then we're going to we'll cut a little bit of a hole underneath, and we'll run the wiring right through and into the back where it's protected. Okay, now we've got the unit mounted. We've got it bolted solidly to the grill on the back of the vehicle. We've cut a hole in the grill to run the harness through, the cable, and we've smoothed it with a file so that there's no burrs or edges. In a minute, what we're going to do is go inside, and we're going to show how to connect the harness and the power leads in, and the transition cable that runs up into the front and up into the cab. This is the display that the driver sees when the unit is completely installed. We're going to mount this centered over the speedometer so that it's in the middle of the vision path of the driver. Other options would be to mount it near one of the mirrors so that as the driver looks up to see what's behind him, this would be in his line of sight. The display has 5 LEDs that light up, that incrementally light up as the driver backs in towards some object that's behind him, so that he'll be able to see how close he is. And also a beeper that's internally in this that will increase the beep rate as he gets closer and closer. In this case, we've mounted it over the speedometer. Notice that the connector is not a waterproof connector, not an external, so it needs to be protected in some place that's out of the weather and away from where it can get snagged. And that's important on all of the cables, is to mount them, run them where they're not going to get snagged and pulled in the normal course of operations. In this case, we're going to mount the display right on the top like this, and then the speedometer, tachometer in this case, will drop right back in front of it, and then we'll put the trim panels back around it. So it'll be well protected, and the driver will be able to see it very easily. Hi, welcome back. What we're going to do now is look at the function of this PreView system. We've got it mounted on our front end loader. We've got the system mounted. We've got the transition cable run up into the cab. We've got the display mounted where the driver can see it. We've got power going to it. You can hear the backup alarm going. That's where we're picking up our power. Safety device that we can't take off, so I'm going to try and talk loud enough that you can hear me. I've outlined the envelope of the sensor in cones so that you can see visually what it is. As I walk in and out, we'd have the driver, the operator sitting in the cab, and an assistant back here moving in and out of the area. That way the operator can see where the blind spots are. He'll have an opportunity to correlate in his mind where the blind spots are related to what he's seeing. So as I walk in and out and through, he'll see the changes happening on his display. This lets the driver understand what's going on. The last thing probably is to basically walk in and let him calibrate distances for his mind. So as I walk back into closer to the sensor, the driver will see the LEDs change. You'll hear the pulse rate of the display changing as I get closer, indicating that something is getting more and more dangerously into his blind spot. And then the important thing, of course, is for the operator and his assistant to compare notes so that they each know what's going on. We've got it done. It's all installed. It's all working. If you have any questions, if you have questions on which sensor to use or installation, best way to get a hold of us is our website at www.previewradar.com. Phone numbers are on there. Give us a holler if you need some help, and we'll work with you on whatever you need. Thanks.